The US dollar is not as resilient as it once was, but it's still not far from its monthly high. The US currency remains resilient amid troubling news that the banking crisis could return. On Tuesday, Moody's downgraded the credit ratings of 10 small and medium-sized US banks, warning that other large US banks are also on the watch list for downgrades. In addition, concerns about the global economy remain, especially after more discouraging news from China. In line with the recent inflation reports, a deflationary spiral may significantly slow the global economy. In our video review, we will find out what events will shape market sentiment this week. The key event of this trading week will be data on the US consumer prices. According to forecast, the US inflation may soar to 3.3% in July, despite the Fed's hawkish stance. However, markets doubt such an outcome, which is why there is a bit of a lull. Investors are not actively trading, waiting for the release of the data. However, if the forecast is confirmed, we may see rather strong growth of the American currency, as the soaring inflation may become a reason for the US regulator to continue rate hikes. On Friday, markets will closely watch the news about the British economy, whose growth rate is forecast to stagnate in the second quarter. Fears of a global recession are justified. The European statistical agencies managed to convince investors that there is no threat of an economic recession. We will see how the UK will find its way out of this situation. And the outlook for the industrial sector was rather vague, judging by the reports on the business activity. On Friday, markets will assess data on the UK's industrial production, which may have increased slightly for the month but still remains negative on a yearly basis. The decline is expected to slow down to 1.1% year-over-year. As the American session opens on Friday, investors will pay attention to the US inflation producer price index data will be closely watched as it may signal changes in consumer inflation. The forecast is expected to show accelerating price growth, which will likely bring back speculation about the need for the Fed to continue raising rates, and such sentiment is expected to increase demand for the US currency. In the midst of all this, the news of a shift in the US consumer confidence from the University of Michigan might well go unnoticed. According to analysts, the preliminary reading for August may increase slightly. One can say that it may remain near the previous level of 71.7 points. If the data confirms that the prediction is correct, the markets are likely to ignore the news, and the information about the producer prices will set the stage for the trading session. And we will monitor the market reaction to the above-mentioned reports. Subscribe to our channel and follow changes in market sentiment with us. Any comments, questions and offers are welcomed. We wish you profitable trading and see you soon!